My tip today has nothing to do with the actual act of speaking, but it's all about an area that will change the relationship you have with the people around you. I know this sounds dramatic, but listen to me and I guarantee I'm going to explain to you how you can elevate and improve every single relationship in your life.
All eyes on me.
Hi, I'm Jane. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about the area of active listening. We're not the speakers, we are the listeners. Why does this even matter? It matters because of the world we live in. So many distractions out there, so many things fighting for our attention that we have moved from being listeners to just being hearers. We hear everything around us. We hear words that people speak to us, but we're not really listening. We're getting half the story because we're only paying attention half the time. We then work out our response to whatever the conversation is requiring. But when we respond, it doesn't hit home with the other person because we weren't really paying attention to the essence of the conversation. This is something we can all work at. And I guarantee this is also an area that has caused a lot of arguments when people will say, "You're not listening to me. I know you have two good ears, you can hear me, but why are you not listening to me?" So in this episode of where we're going to be tackling all these active listening skills, we need to figure out what we, as the non-speakers, are going to do. And it's very, very important. In the workplace, everything is so goal-driven, so rushed, so pressured. We don't pay attention there. We half pay attention. In our social lives, our home lives, we're juggling a million things. Again, we're not really paying attention there. But it is on us as the communicators, effective communicators, to work out how we can work on this skill of active listening. And I've got clear steps we're going to go through. The very first step you have to do is minimize all the distractions. That's on you, that's on me. We put our phones down, we close our laptops, we stop what activity we're doing, look away from the TV, and put our eyes and our ears on the person who's doing the speaking. Minimize the devices and distractions under your control. The second thing is you need to ignore those extraneous distractions that we have no control over. You're in the office and someone's screaming in the boardroom down the passageway, nothing you can do about it. You're at home, someone's got a television very loud, the house over, there's nothing you can do about it. You need to learn to simply ignore those. Once you've cut out the distractions, you then put your attention solely on the speaker. You make strong eye contact with them and you hold it for about 50 or 60% of the time. In Western culture, about 50 or 60% of the time is comfortable, and it varies depending where you are in the world. But you keep your eyesight on them. You look them in the eyes. Even if they're not looking back at you, they might be thinking, pondering, marshalling their thoughts. That's nothing to do with you. Pay attention and look at them in their eyes. This is how you're going to pick up all the micro expressions. So if you're really focused on them, you'll see the little frown, the head tilt, the no when they look down their nose, the sort of aggravated smile or the genuine little smile. You'll pick up all of those when you have your eyes glued on them. Now, in the time you're not looking them in the eyes, you're going to look at the bigger person and you're going to pay attention to their body language. It's going to tell you a whole raft of things. Are they not really open to this conversation? Are they aggravated? Are they on the defensive? Could be closed body language. They could be holding something in front of them. Their bodies could be angled away from you. Their feet could be angled away from you. There are many things. Take that all into account. Just make sure you know where they are in their space. That's all their body language. Most importantly, listen to the tone of their voice. And I have a video up here you can link straight to learn a lot about tone. The tone will literally tell you how they are feeling in that moment. And you can then respond the way you want to their tone. So pay attention. Could be very subtle. They're a little bit upset, they're fatigued, they're defeated. All of this will come over in the body language. Are they slumped? Are they sitting up straight? What are they telling you? You take all of those things into account. The next thing you need to do, and this is probably after eye contact is the most important, you need to give them the gift of listening all the way through. All the way through until they've finished speaking. This is the hardest thing. This is one of the most important, but by far, this is the hardest thing. Quite simply, what we've got to in our society is we listen to, the first few minutes, about half of what someone's saying to gather some sort of information while paying attention to all these distractions. Then we move into the mode of tying our thoughts to what they're saying. So they're telling you, they had a really bad experience in a restaurant, and you're thinking, oh wait, I had a bad experience in a restaurant. So now I'm not really listening to you because I'm more thinking about, oh yeah, that strikes a bell with me. That rings a bell. I had that too. Then the last part of them speaking, you've probably tuned them out. You're really not listening to them at that point. All you're doing is starting to organize your own thoughts as to how you're going to respond. And that's why we get into these situations where people will sometimes say, you're not listening to me. So fight the urge to start getting into your own head. And all these things we've talked about, the eye contact, all that, watching their body language, and there's more to come, all of those things are going to help you really focus in and zone in on what they are saying. And zip it and let them get to the very end of what they were saying. Take that breath, take that pause, and then formulate your response. I promise you your brain will provide the information. You don't have to start thinking about it right at the beginning of when they're speaking. Now we're getting into our nonverbals. What are we going to do over and above eye contact that will help the other person know, I am listening to you, I am being attentive, and it's a discipline for us to help narrow our focus. And that's, as I said, the body language. If the person says something you agree with, you can lean in slightly. If the person's talking about something that you agree with or that you really want to show them, yes, I'm with you, I'm following, you can nod. Don't nod the whole time, that's weird. But the odd nod, just occasional nod when you really mean it. You can also vocalize. You can say, yes, I see, I agree, you're right, or even, that's interesting. Small comments like that are going to feed the other person so that they know I have your attention. And this is on us as the listener to display this behavior. If you want to elevate it a bit more, job situation, work setting, you can even mirror their behavior. Not weirdly so, but a subtle mirroring of their behavior will show the other person we're on the same page. Okay? This is what negotiators do. This is what people do when they're trying to persuade you to change your behavior. So focus in on all those things and really, really close everything off apart from the words that they are saying. I guarantee this works amazingly. Why? Because you now have this basket, this bucket of information, all these clues like a little detective that you're going to weave together. So when you start to formulate your response, you organize your thoughts, you've got all this information to inform it, and your response is going to be that much better. And this is where conversations elevate. This is where productive discussions take place. And all of this is doable. You can start practicing it from the moment you switch off this video. So what is the homework we're going to do this week? Well, naturally, the homework is everything I've been saying. All these skills, you need to start trying to bring them together. Can't do them all at one time, I understand, and start practicing them. But homework this week's a bit different. The difference between usual homework, where I say, find a trusted colleague, don't tell the people you're going to be practicing on. And I'm going to suggest that your people you practice this on are people you spend many hours with a day. Could be someone at your work, a team member on your group. It could be someone at home, a family member, a partner. The reason I say focus it on them is because the people we often pay the least attention to, properly listen to, are those we've been with and spent many, many hours with. We know them so well. I've been on this team for 10 years. I've been with this person for 20 years, whatever it is. So you only really half listen to them and you just fill in the blanks because you're like, oh, we've had this conversation 20 times over, or I know where this is going. No. This is where the game changer comes in. Those people, very slowly, very subtly, start to practice the active listening on them. Give them your total attention and tell me how it makes a difference. Children as well. Children it works amazingly on. Just totally put everything down and focus on them when they're speaking. I guarantee this works. It will change the relationships around you. It's doable. I guarantee that it works. Thank you for your time, and I will see you back next week. But before you go, please, if you could subscribe, if you could like, share, and comment. It helps me so much deciding where to put the content and what to focus on.